3, 2, 1, go. Here we are. Welcome to another episode of the CapmLew podcast with your host, CapmLew, and
co-host Luke here.
There he is. You can hear, most likely, dear listeners, that our audio quality is not what you would call, I guess, to the max.
No.
Oh, it is. It's grody to the max.
Right.
Because somehow I had them fully charged. I put our lavalier mics into my bag, and I took a Harley-Davidson motorcycle journey to the Batesville, Indiana skate park today.
You did?
Yes.
Oh, you bastard.
Yes, I am. And not only did I do that, all right?
Yes.
But I skated for 20 minutes.
Yeah?
Yeah, did not even do any feats of daring do, but simply rolled around asking myself, how did I come to this place in my life, and other such existential queries, until I realized I want to ride home.
Yeah.
And then I rode home.
Yeah.
And it was for what it was worth.
Yes.
So it was good to push around and to do some of that, and it was particularly good to ride a big bore Harley-Davidson bagger with a backrest. I'm riding like an old man. And to unplug from the inside of doors, which since I've not been doing a lot of roofs this week. I've been in the inside of doors quite often. I know that my mental health is on the brink when I start doing these personal notes.
Yeah.
I do audio notes. Just the fact that I'm doing them is a bad sign.
Oh, you turn on the audio recording and
do
notes for yourself.
I grab them through my headset.
Dude.
Now, a note to our viewers. Our viewers may notice that I have given my mustache a bowl cut.
Oh, I see it.
I do. I'm like that musician kid who is now a grown man.
Yes.
Who rides a scooter. I forgot his name, but he's a YouTube musician who rides a scooter.
Good for him.
That's the haircut that I've given to my mustache today.
Yes.
Which is also just fine. At what price?
But yes, at what price though?
Glamour.
The price of glamour.
I'm fine with it. So, so I wanted to discuss a couple of things. First thing, I thought we'd just dive right into it.
Yeah, get it.
I wanted to discuss a 9 Club clip that I watched yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, the 9 Club was asking the question, who's a skateboarder?
Oh, boy.
I think they had, he's got like a punk rock stage name, Prod.
P-Rod?
What? No.
It's just Prod, I'm sorry.
You would never want to be called P-Rod.
Yeah,
because that seems like you're some sort of rod.
Yeah.
That pees.
Yeah, and there's like a phallic nature to the
name.
name.
Oh, don't say that. That's too far.
Okay, there's a penisy nature to the
I'll never understand an industry that pumps out names like P-Rod,
T-Funk,
and T-Puds.
T-Puds.
I'll never understand. There are more of them too. There are more of them too.
Dude, T-Puds.
Dear Dick,
you've
got a lot going on skateboarding.
Right.
I think you're a little bit. That's fine.
Maybe take some time to find yourself.
I think that skateboarding is not a thing, actually. I think one of the biggest problems with existential questions in skateboarding is existential questions that shoot to the core of identity.
Yes.
So deeply for so many people. The problem is these questions are often misplaced. Skateboarding is ephemeral. That's why it's fun.
Yes.
When skateboarding ceases to be ephemeral,
mm-hmm.
It will cease to be fun. It will become terribly, terribly important to you. And you will be laying upon skateboarding a tremendous weight that it just doesn't bear. And what happens is, by default, that weight lands right back on you. You don't know what it is. And you got you got existential angst, you got unfulfilled existential issues,
Yeah.
And you will have that. There are lots of things. Bow hunting can do the same thing, as well as fishing, and also
bow hunting.
Lifted trucks can do the same thing.
faster though.
Yeah, right. Well, depending on your bank account's ability to handle it. Skateboarding, at least, is a good exercise.
Yes.
Puts you among a diverse crowd of people, and it's pretty cheap.
Is it that diverse, you think?
I don't.
Okay.
But I only said that because it's what you're supposed to say.
Right, yeah.
Right. It'll put you among a diverse crowd of similarly thin, athletic, young men.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
And now crusty old gatekeepers who are in charge of making sure that you're buying a $150 polar shirt at the skate shop. Saw a $110 shirt, did not know I was on a skate trip, and that's right, I went on a skate trip, and with people.
With people.
On purpose. And
not even on accident.
It was shocking.
Yes.
The fact that I did it.
I know. Get back to your glory days.
They're gone.
They're gone.
They're gone. So I was on a trip and I saw a beautiful shirt, and I was with all these young people, and I thought, my fit is so mid.
My fit is so mid right now.
No cap, Lou.
Stop, dude.
No, seriously.
Please stop.
On God, bet.
Dude, stop. It's an onslaught. It's an onslaught.
So my fit was so mid, and I thought, these guys have got these nice clothes. And I saw a shirt, and I thought, that is an attractive shirt.
Did you really think that?
I think I could wear that shirt, and it hides my physique is even more mid than my fit.
Okay.
I'm a little bit puffy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have maybe exactly a dad bod, especially if I like hold my shoulders really straight. Yeah. I look like a man who has been quite fit.
Like once.
That's what I look like at 50 years old.
Yeah.
I look like a man that has been quite fit, and I know exactly what to do.
Go ahead.
Because I'm a little self-conscious about it.
Oh.
The answer, as the Australians would say, is tattoos.
Tattoos.
Tattoos. Tattoos are the answer.
Okay.
Just tat it up.
Yes.
Yes, it's
just hammer down, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, right.
My goodness.
Some people let the body dysmorphia drive them to the gym, but some people let the body dysmorphia drive them to the tattoo parlor.
And don't jump in these comments and say, "Oh, you should tattoo a six-pack on your." I kind of have like sort of a six-pack. I mean, it's like if a six-pack were left in the sand.
Like hidden,
and then it left.
Yes.
And there was sort of someone kicked it a little bit.
Yeah, dude.
I have that kind of a six-pack.
Then your dog found it like a couple months later and dug it up.
There may or may not be a few turds,
yeah,
cat turds buried in this sand. So, anyways, I wanted to talk about. I do resent coming from the '80s where we would go to the thrift store, which was not a popular thing to do.
Yeah, it was like taboo.
Not a popular thing to do, to buy clothing at the thrift store.
Mm-hmm.
At least not in our whatever.
Yeah.
And we'd go to the thrift store and buy a bunch of oversized stuff and put a shoestring around it and make it stay on our bodies and go out just wildly skating in the streets, so underfed and so exhausted.
Yeah.
And we'd run upon some of the skate team guys. We had a skate team.
Yeah.
And they were extremely well fed. A lot of them were like football players.
Oh.
And
interesting.
And like successes in school. A lot of them went to the same school.
They
were
for the
successful.
Shop?
Yes. They
okay.
skated for the bike shop skate team.
Okay.
And that was it. That was how it was.
Sure.
In the last half of the 80s. And that was where the demos were hosted, and they got to skate with the Bones Brigade, and they were rippers.
Yeah,
they were legitimately gifted rippers. I mean, I have no bones to pick with the choice of those guys. We were like second string to those guys.
Sure. And
we were also second stringers to the New York hardcore scene.
Right.
We lived 45 minutes outside the city, but the older brothers of my peer group were pioneering the New York hardcore scene. Had moved to New York City and were pioneering New York hardcore punk rock. And that was what I came up in. We were the second string and the little brothers of stuff that was going on. And so I've always been a real wannabe. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Good for you,
Well,
man.
I got no problem being a wannabe.
That's fine.
Just pick carefully what you want to be.
What you want to be, right?
Everyone's a wannabe.
Yeah.
So anyways,
Mm-hmm.
this clip from the 9 Club, who is actually a skateboarder.
Who were they talking to?
They were talking to Prod.
Prod, right.
And I don't ever, dude, it's...
Was that the guy you heckled at that demo?
No, that God bless him, little Chaz Ortiz.
Dude, yeah, wherever he is.
Oh,
seriously.
he doesn't even remember it. It was fine. It was fine.
He's gonna come up to you one day, like 15 years from now, and tell you how you changed his life.
Oh,
Because you
God,
heckled.
I doubt that entirely, because maybe.
You were such a savage. I wasn't there, but I've heard the story. It's beautiful.
Anyway. All I did was let him know that, hey, man, like, there are a lot of people here.
Yeah.
And everyone's waiting for your line. You've tried it 23 times. You can't do it.
Yeah.
So why don't you relax? You're amazing. Go do a whole bunch of things that you do amazing, dude.
Right.
And then he proceeded to do just that. He went and did a line of like every single blunt.
That's sick.
On that 5.5 foot deep half pipe, which is that's the death dimension on a half pipe.
The death dimension.
It is 5 feet on a mini half pipe is a straight to flat combination. If it's a relatively tight transition.
Yes, right. Depending on the concave.
And luckily, the flat bottom on that was concrete. Because that was 2 quarter pipes with plastic threshold.
I recall.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and he proceeded to do, and I just was so pleased to watch it, dude. I really do love the skateboarding that people do. When people just loosen up and just give it a go.
Yes.
I love
Especially a person who's as skilled.
Super talented.
Yeah, like I would much prefer watching a guy kind of just shredding around the park than I would watch a guy try something extremely difficult 800 billion times. Like, dude, just watching a guy who's really comfortable on their skateboard, it is just a joy.
It is a joy to watch.
Awesome.
I do. I really enjoy it, and it makes me better.
Yes.
It's contagious.
Yes, it is.
I catch it.
Yes.
So anyways, they were talking about it, and one guy said this, one guy said that. And
you're talking about the shirt right now?
No, the shirt was just
okay,
it was $110, and I said to the guys I was with about that shirt, dear listeners, you understand that we are like shotgun against a barn wall. Yeah. You understand.
Yeah.
Train of thought, more like just shotgun shell of thinking.
Yes.
No, the shirt was $110, and it was quite a simple. It was a simple garment. I mean, it was nothing to write mama about.
But you liked it.
Yeah, well,
if it had been like $15, would you maybe have snagged on it?
I would have. Yes. Okay. If it were $15 or even $20, I would have snagged on it. Okay. I expected it to be $60 or $65. It was $110.
Yes.
And I looked at the tag, and it said Polar on it. And I recognize that Polar is a major force right now, and good on them for it, because I think that Polar has gone and popularized creativity in skateboarding style.
You think so?
Yes, I think that in an era of barracks rules, they were doing a lot of foot on the floor.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of no-comply tricks. Pontus Alv.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I decline to over-admire people who do DIY.
Yes, that's
I do.
fine.
I politely decline to over-admire people doing DIY. Yeah. Because it's like admiring someone for doing what everyone should do.
Yeah.
It should not be that big of a deal. It shouldn't. It should be common.
Yeah.
I do think that that there's a lot to be said. In fact, we should do an episode on DIY, and we should just completely
destructive.
By the way, I want to clarify to our watchers and our listeners. Watchers, please be listeners. Check us out on Apple, Spotify. By the way, Luke. Spotify for podcasts. Sounds like a better way to go than Podbean. It's free.
Well, I'm gonna look into that, because when we started, I looked into it and they didn't have that. Is that a thing?
And it has video.
Son of a gun.
Yes.
All right. I'm right.
So, I figure we're going to lose the entire podcast a couple of times.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll just restart.
I do. We'll just restart. This podcast moves forward.
Yes, right.
It rolls forward.
Undaunted.
Even when it's switch, it ain't fakey. That's where it's at.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So we don't care if we lose all of our episodes and just have to go back through and re-record the topics. But I wanted to clarify for our listeners as we're segueing into discussing a 9 Club clip.
Yes.
We are absolute experts.
Stop, dude.
No.
Oh, go ahead.
No,
I'm
you
sorry.
got it.
Go ahead.
We are absolute experts in our own opinions.
I was wondering where we were going.
We are the world's experts
Yes.
in our opinion.
Leading experts.
And when I say that, I mean that as if a younger person would follow in sequence with the term no cap, even
On God.
on God.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
We're on the cutting edge of our own opinion right now.
We are on the cutting edge of our own opinions
Yes.
right
Right
now.
now. Right now.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, that's something I can
Why
stand
don't you
by.
come down here and hit me, Napoleon?
Yeah.
See what happens if you come down here and hit me.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. We are on the cutting edge of our own opinion, folks. This
Smack.
is an exciting time.
Jeez.
Jeez, stop.
So that said, we are going to lay on you
Yes.
right nicely a little bit of our own opinion material.
Okay.
I don't have an opinion about the opinions of the people on the 9 Club who shared their opinions. Go watch the clip. I don't know. Search for it. You're a kid.
It's
Google
fine.
it.
Yeah.
If you're a real skateboarder, you've already watched it. Okay. What's a skateboarder? If you're a skateboarder, you've already watched the 9 Club clip. You've already liked and subscribed and dropped a comment.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Right.
Yes. I'm in complete agreement.
But the guys on the 9 Club, they
Yeah.
seem nice enough. They seem like nice kids.
What was their opinion?
It was broad.
How long was the clip?
12 minutes.
How long did it take for each person to articulate their opinion?
Well, I only watched about 6 minutes of
And
it.
then you just get it anymore?
No, I can't watch a full clip of that crap.
Just can't, dude. You just
Nobody has any opinions.
like I said, cutting edge of our own opinion. This is beautiful.
Guys would give an opinion, then another guy would give an opinion, and the first guy would say, I want to redo my opinion now.
Yeah.
And then it's fine. They're being nice. They're trying to be nice.
Yeah, they're definitely nice guys.
They are nice guys. Just
They're a nice group of guys.
they each one of them.
Yes.
No, they're no Joe Walsh.
Well,
Joe Walsh is a nice group of guys. Now, Joe Walsh on the 9 Club,
yeah,
that would be an absolutely fantastic episode.
that would.
Probably get less hate than when they had Gary Vaynerchuk on the 9 Club.
Dude.
Yes.
You heard it.
Which segues into our work on FA today.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So we're not doing
yes.
skateboarding anymore?
Yeah,
All
right. No more.
Look, we don't want to be culture vultures, but I mean, there's all this free meat.
Yeah, there's all this free meat.
There's
yeah.
all this free meat
It's
sitting here.
It's low hanging, my guy.
Some of it's fresh. You know?
It would be a waste to not.
So for our listeners, you guys have probably figured out that we're some kind of believing Christian people. So we've already got that stacked against us, or for us, usually against us. And we're not them Rhett and Link type of guys. We're Bible readers.
Dude.
We're Bible readers, and we are believers in the mystical magic of the resurrection of Jesus Christ, which is beyond all magic.
It's true.
And has authority over everything. He's the guy.
He's the guy.
Saying he's the guy is a very, very low form of saying what we really think about the guy. So we come into it with these kind of, sensibilities and concepts. I have nothing religious to say about the 9 Clubs clip. I don't want to waste a chance to be honest about our bias. I don't want to waste that chance. Read the Apostles' Creed. Google it up, Apostles' Creed. That's kind of the sort of the deal we're in, right?
Yeah, it's fine.
So anyways, so there I am. I'm watching this thing and I'm listening, and so Luke, what is a skateboarder? What does it take to be a skateboarder? What does it take?
Somebody who rides skateboards.
Okay, riding them. How often?
Oh boy.
How often? Because one person said, they gave an example. They said, well, if somebody gets into skateboarding and they learn to ollie and they learn to kickflip, those were the two specific tricks that they said.
Yeah.
They learn to ollie and they learn to kickflip, but then they can quit for like 20 years. And then they can get back on the board. They can ollie and kickflip. Are they a real skateboarder? That was the question.
Yeah.
And it got like, people were like, no, they're not, because they all they are is a civilian They didn't use that term.
Civilian.
They didn't use that term. That's the term from the biker world.
Yeah, they're
like,
civilian.
are you a biker? Are you in a club? Or are you a civilian? You know, and some of the civilians, they're like, I'm a lone wolf. You know,
Yeah,
and
right.
you get this whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's really a dumpster fire because the whole time we're sitting around talking about who's a biker and who's not a biker.
Yeah.
You know what we should be doing?
Just riding bikes.
Or wrenching on them. We should be wrenching or riding.
Right.
Or planning a trip or, you know, something like that.
Yeah, sure.
Which is, that's more like my lane in being a biker.
Right.
And I'd have to say it's not dissimilar to my lane in being what they call a skateboarder. I despair to call myself a skateboarder ever again in my life because I know that the larger, most beloved opinions in skateboarding probably think that my riding skateboards regularly since I was 12.
Yes.
With 2 to 3, maybe 4 years off when I first got married.
Yeah.
Taking a break from skateboarding when I first got married was a big part of how I grew mentally, spiritually, and in the bond between me and my wife and our young son.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, who's counting?
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
Who is in charge of these things? My goodness.
Well, it's a completely subjective term. You know what I mean?
Well, so a guy who loved skateboarding for a year and a half when he was young and got quite good, and then who was gifted enough with skill to come back after 15 or 20 years and start doing it again. And he wants to be a skateboarder. He wants to be called a skateboarder.
Okay.
He wants to wear a 100% skateboarding t-shirt, and so he buys one.
Yeah.
And he's out skateboarding, and some people who know his history, you know, maybe he's got some influence because he can ollie and kickflip, and some kid thinks he's good, and then somebody pulls a kid aside like, yo, that guy's not a real skateboarder. And you're like, why? And it's like, because from 1990 to 2005, he didn't do anything, and then in 2005 he came back, and it's only 2008 now. Facebook's brand new. I'm going to put him on blast. He's not a real skateboarder.
Yeah.
That's just, I'm looking at it and I'm like, what? Where are the limiting principles on this line of reasoning?
Yeah.
My goodness gracious.
Right.
And so they were like, oh yeah, that's actually really good. I want to revise my answer or type of thing.
Okay.
And they went into some of the same degrees of madness that you and I have touched on before.
Yeah, sure.
And I thought, you know what? Let's call it a day. Let's call it a day.
We're 6 minutes in.
there is no such thing as a skateboarder. Skateboarding is not good unless it is not important.
Sure.
This is not to we don't mean to, in an unqualified way, dismiss or we understand that some of you love the battle.
Yeah.
But this is the show where our opinions count. You didn't tune in to listen to people who always agree with you and who never stimulate you to think hard thoughts.
Oh boy.
You know, our lav mics just finished cooking.
Let's do
We're
this.
gonna plug in the lav mics and see what's the haps. I don't know. You know
It's
what I'm
gonna
gonna do?
stop when
it
we
is
plug
gonna
it in.
stop. So the episode is gonna stop for a second. I gotta get this thing ready. I gotta get ready. Here it goes. I click this into here.
Yeah.
I should do this on mic sometime.
You should.
I should.
Oh, come on. It's not
Okay, so
what I wanted.
there's that, and that's
Don't
blinking,
poop
and then
mouth.
this goes here. We're doing this.
And
There.
we are live.
Are they live?
We are.
They
yes.
are live.
But that needs to.
That's okay. That's okay because my tech just failed utterly. It did. Everything about this just completely.
This is
I should.
grade A content right here.
This is our life now.
This is who we are.
It's processing. It's going to take, hi Facebook, it's going to take forever for this thing to process.
It has to
Oh, here we go.
Okay. And we're back.
And we're back. And we have the lav mics. We've
Oh,
got
yeah.
we've got the lav mics on. The quality, we'll be able to do it side by
Yeah,
side.
to see. I bet it's not horrible.
Except one thing.
Go ahead.
We never listened to the show.
Yeah, dude. I have one
We
time.
Never. Have you?
One time. I got through.
I have
like
never
10
listened
minutes
to
of
the
one of
show.
ours. Yes.
Should we even have a podcast if we wouldn't listen to it ourselves?
I don't. Let's. We're on the cutting edge of our own opinion here.
Absolutely.
We might, before we fall off.
So in the name of the authority of having our own opinions on our own dang podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
We hereby declare that none of you are skateboarders and all of you are skateboarders.
Yeah.
If you even kinda like skateboarding.
I mean, okay.
If you even care about riding skateboards enough to do it, what? We should put a time frame on there.
Yeah.
If you even roll on a skateboard, and for what?
Once a month?
Once a year.
Once a year, you think?
Skate every day, 1 day a year.
I skate every day, 1 day a year. I mean, I guess there is some legitimacy to the question if you can allow yourself to cut off all parts of your brain except the parts that are thinking about skateboarding in the moment. I understand why people are asking the question. Skateboarding has a culture surrounding it and people want to be a part of that culture. So I understand why people are asking the question. I just think it's an impossible question to answer because there's going to be, for every single skateboarder, there's probably going to be a different opinion about that answer.
It feels to me like, you know what they did back in the day? They started a group. They started a bunch of groups. One group was called the Jacks.
They called it the Jacks?
It's still called the Jacks.
I don't know what that is.
It's a club.
Okay. Skateboarding?
It's a club within skateboarding. It kind of functions along the lines and ethics of an MC.
Really?
That motorcycle club.
The only one that I can think of is like the barrier cult people.
Oh, Baku.
Yeah, Baku.
Baku.
Yeah.
Crews and clubs are, I think they're great.
Sure.
I think they're a really good thing.
Yeah.
I think that crews and clubs are a really good thing because you might not be considered a skateboarder by someone, but you can be a contributing member of a crew or a club. I love crews.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great answer to this.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it looks like, because I don't presently do the kickflip.
No. I don't either.
You can.
I have before in my life, and I can probably land one if I tried enough times, but it's not like I do them all the time, nor do I care to.
I have a kickflip that I'm doing in the 80s on VHS.
Yeah, right.
Have I shown it to you?
No, but I want to see it real bad. That's awesome.
65 millimeter wheels with a half-inch riser on a Mike V barnyard.
Yes.
Just mobbing over a kickflip.
Yeah, it's just flapping
on a
it
rainy
over.
day underneath at a stairwell at a high school.
Yes.
What's misery?
It's probably, here's the
misery.
Here's the deal. This question can only be answered in reference to your own skateboarding community that you skate in. So if you have a bunch of old dudes and they only go out once a month, and the guy misses half a year, then they're probably going to say, well, that guy's not a real skateboarder. But those guys, compared to the guys who go every day, will look at the old guys and say that those guys aren't real skateboarders. But the question is just fucking stupid.
Why is anybody asking this question?
Because they're trying to find a home. They're trying to find a core group. They're trying to find a group, and they have to have a group. You have to quantitate who's going to be inside and outside the group. Now, I think that
you actually mean you have to qualify.
Yeah.
You have to qualify for entry,
and you qualify for entry and quantify what it means to be in or out. Yes, both. Yes to both. So that's why I think. In a broad sense, the question is ridiculous, but in a not broad sense, and I can see it from their perspective, or somebody who finds skateboarding to be terribly important, I can understand why the question is there. I just think that it's like there's an essence of navel gazing involved with that question that it just kind of makes me want to rub my eyes,
I want to. We're coming out with shirts soon that we are going to make right here in my workshop.
Yes.
And the shirts that we're going to make are. They're going to be on your push foot side hem.
Yes.
You're going to get a slogan. They're slogan shirts, a simple screen, black on white and white on black, of down on your push foot around the back.
Yes.
So they'll be made regular and goofy.
Yes. Pocket tees. Please.
Fine.
I'll go on strike if we don't do
Fine.
pocket tees.
They will be pocket tees.
You don't like pocket tees?
I do.
I love pocket tees.
Okay.
They're the only t-shirt to wear, and I'm wearing one right now that doesn't have a pocket tee. That's
Bro,
why I'm so...
Hand on your knee.
Yeah.
With love and respect.
Just tell me that we're doing pocket
there
tees.
will be crew neck pocket tees.
Okay, thank you.
Do they make V-neck pocket tees? I don't think so.
Let's not do V-necks, come on.
I'm wearing one right now.
Are you?
You don't even know because of my beard.
Yeah, well...
It's
see,
summertime. When
that's
all
fine.
the trees,
Are
leaves are green.
And the bluebird
Redbird sings.
And I'll be blue.
I'll be in a V-neck.
I'll be in a V-neck on a motorcycle.
And you won't want my love. Some other time, that's what they say when I want to skate with them. Because you're not a real skateboarder. They don't want my love. They don't seem to care a thing about me. They'd rather skate without me.
Exactly.
Than to watch my 1 foot ollies and frontside 180s that I can sometimes do.
What do you think about the statement? What do you think about the statement that the people who care about who the real skateboarders are
wasting their time. And ours.
Yes.
As we, dear listener, have done to you.
Yes.
Right. This whole thing is, I swear, dude, it is almost entirely raw.
Yeah. Garbage.
Capitalist marketing and commoditizing through qualifying you.
Yeah.
The membership benefits of being a skateboarder are, oh, great, now you get to buy things. You get to wear a Polar shirt.
A Polar shirt.
You can buy a $110 Polar shirt.
Yeah.
And you can barf your fashion all over your sweet steez everywhere.
Yeah.
You know.
Just make sure you don't toe drag, you degenerate.
Goodness, heel drag, toe drag doesn't count. Let's hit the replay.
Did you just push Mongo going switch? Oh, I'm sorry. You're off the team.
That's points off right there.
I don't know. I agree with that statement that you just made, but I think we're selling it too short. Because people love being part of a group. I love being part of a team. I was having a conversation with my boss one time, and I told him that I love being on a team so much that if our job was to pick up gravel from the parking lot, as long as I had a team I cared about, I would do it better than anybody else. And it's so true.
You're in the group.
Yeah, I love being in the group, and I love allowing other people in the group too.
I'm not in the group.
Oh, whatever. I disagree with you 100%. Let the record show. Hey, Stacy, please let the record show that I'm disagreeing with Lou right now.
I like it. I'm happy.
Yeah, of course you're in the group. What are you talking about? You're a pioneer, Lou.
Oh, am I?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
It feels so good, doesn't it? To be on the cutting edge.
Pioneers do a funny thing. They die young.
They die young of dysentery.
Yeah. Pioneers are buried all along that Oregon Trail.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. There's still a few of them frozen stuck to that mountain pass. So.
Well, there's a reason they call it the cutting edge.
Yeah. Nice.
You poor bastard.
I'll cut me.
You guys.
I'll get me cut.
Yeah, I'll do it.
I don't like groups that I wouldn't join.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like when the false brotherhood of skateboarding lavishes upon me some sort of appreciation for some sort of contribution, real or imagined, and then is just fine as fine can be.
Yeah.
With some of the stuff that not only is done to me, but is done to all kinds of people who are the tall poppy.
Yes.
And who stand up and say, I don't think the emperor is wearing any clothes.
And they're like, get him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, no, someone's like, get him, and someone gets him.
Yeah.
But these dear ones, they're more than happy to stand by and go, oh my, click, cluck, cluck, what a shame.
Yes.
You know?
Right.
And that rankles me. I have no idea what the value of being in this group really is.
Sure.
Because this group, it kills its wounded, and it cannibalizes its dead, just like every other group that I've seen.
Yeah.
And I tend to be not a joiner.
Yes.
People who join and then become influential wind up being the subject of political, what do they call them? Internecine quarrels. Yeah.
What is internecine?
Within an organization or a culture.
Sure.
Within the leadership of an organization or a culture, you have these power plays that are done.
Yeah.
And my idea was make a contribution, offer an alternative, give it away the whole time.
Yeah.
And then I thought that I could settle into a fine, humble, capitalistic living off of a portion of what wound up creating itself through doing that. My experience of that was not that I couldn't have a go of the business end of it, but that I'd have to do so under. You can never drink a beer at the bar again.
Right.
You can never drink a beer at the bar because if the sponsored skaters are there who've been told that they should rough you up, they're going to spill a drink on you and your wife. You're going to have a situation, and your wife's going to have a bad time.
Yes.
And especially with like the mayor coming and saying that he's going to kill me at my house. With no public remediations put in place. I mean, it's bitter.
Yes.
It's a feature of the skateboarding landscape.
Yes.
That people who offer viable alternatives or who speak up about things that have to do with conscience and the diversity of opinion that exists in real authentic people are going to have different opinions, different approaches. Skateboarding has been absolutely excellent at smashing those people.
Yes.
I'll give you an example.
Go ahead.
I'm not gonna talk about the specifics of this because it's sensitive.
Okay.
But a situation transpired recently in which a documentary was viewed.
Okay.
And the documentary was viewed, and obviously one of the main people died, and the documentary never said how they died.
Yeah.
It's a skate documentary. And Brian Charsky.
I'm sorry, dude.
I
really wasn't.
You don't join us. We join you intimately.
Dude, never was. We spill
man.
drinks on your wife. This is so good.
I'm so grateful
That
for
was nice.
Brian's contribution of levity.
Yes,
seriously.
that was nice. That was nice.
Brian is one of the few people that I've really let my Nazi flag fly with.
Oh, stop, dude. Stop, dude. Dang it.
So,
Go ahead.
So after the viewing, this was sort of a previewing. You know, this film is going to be at the film festivals and all that.
Okay.
And after the viewing, there was a fairly broad conversation. Well, yeah, but what happened to the guy?
Yeah.
What happened to the guy?
Yeah.
What do you think happened to the guy? Judging from the history of skateboarding and when people die and no one talks about why,
Okay.
what happened to the guy?
My top 3 guesses ready?
Yeah, go.
Suicide.
Okay.
Drug overdose. Got hit by a car in San Francisco bombing a hill.
Okay. Those are great guesses. So, what's the answer that would cause the greatest damage to the marketing status quo of the skateboarding industry?
It seems like all those that I said could be construed to do that. I'm trying to think what would be the greatest damage.
Think back to our perusal of the San Francisco Standard articles, and how sadly and clearly,
died at a party, skateboard related, or died in the culture.
It was
connected to skateboarding.
Evidently, the mode of death was damaging enough to the cultural status quo, which is partying.
Yes.
That it was hidden.
Yes.
Not only was it hidden, but because there were people who didn't want it to be exposed.
Yes.
That detail, which was crucial,
which is completely left out.
Was completely left out.
Yeah.
And
it was accidental.
The thing is that we have an epidemic of deaths of despair. Drug overdoses that is a person choosing death instead of life in little doses until it finally takes root and gives birth to death.
Sure.
And you've got this problem in skateboarding where
Yeah.
what would happen if somebody finally stood up and was it Tony Vitello?
Yes.
Yeah. Tony said, like, we're trying to start to have, I'm paraphrasing, we're trying to start to have this conversation about
Yeah.
drugs and deaths of despair, but he said that it was not, that he basically expressed that skateboarding has been capitalizing. Capitalizing means making money off of.
Yes.
Branding and harvesting
Right.
financial resource.
Yeah.
Skateboarding is capitalized off of the image of the partying and things like that.
Yeah.
And it really brought to my mind, because just like yesterday, I ran across an FA graphic. It was actually an old graphic that had been made into an ashtray.
Yes.
And it was the graphic of looked like a dad or an uncle and
Yes.
a toddler.
Yes.
And in the foreground of the photo, the dad or the uncle, the adult
Yes.
male responsible,
Yeah.
le responsable,
Yeah.
he is
Snorting drugs.
il est en train de, yeah, he is, I switched to French. He's in the process of snorting drugs.
Yes.
Obviously it's cocaine.
Yeah.
And FA thought it was super cool. Haha, someone made it into an ashtray with
Yeah.
a mosaic around it.
Yeah.
Now it's an ashtray.
Yeah.
You know, and in this image was such fundamental juxtaposition of childhood innocence being corrupted by adult malfeasance, cocaine.
Yeah.
Who's on here to advocate for how great it is for a guy to use cocaine in the presence of a child? All this stuff. We all know
Yes.
common sense.
Yes.
Common sense.
Yeah.
And Sam Cooke just went on here and he says overdose would have been a welcome escape from the hell of addiction. That is a
Yes.
death of despair.
Yes. 100%.
That is a death of despair.
Yeah.
Deaths of despair, I don't think they're funny.
No.
I think that the time for branding on deaths of despair
Yeah.
has passed us by.
Yes.
Nobody's listening to me. This is my podcast. I get to say what I want.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
But I think it's super bogus
Yeah.
to brand on deaths of despair. And what Tony Vitello was expressing, in my interpretation, was, yeah, but deaths of despair, this is hard to say, because deaths of despair have been capitalized upon for a
Yes.
long time.
Yes.
And, you know, and so we've really had to take it easy. And
Just in case we lost our money source, our revenue stream.
Right. I look at the Peace Stone Memorial. I look at the Mark Hubbard Memorial.
Yeah.
I look at these things and I see all the drugs and I see all of the over drinking and drunkenness. I'm not against alcohol.
Yeah.
I'm not even against cannabis.
Sure.
But the recreational overdoing of these things is just, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And here's FA. I'm so glad that they're not in skateboarding anymore.
Yeah.
Except for Louis Lopez and maybe one other guy. You know, I'm glad they've stopped with the skateboarding stuff, because
Yes.
now they can just brand on vapid and vacuous New York fashion whore
Yes.
garbage
Yes.
without messing up skateboarding. Nope.
I was
No.
actually thinking about the way that they were branding, because their Instagram pages essentially has zero skateboarding on it. And I think that probably what's happening is people watched the rise of Supreme and the way that Supreme was making money, and people jumped on what I would call the hype bandwagon. It's
Hype-
like pseudo
hype
artistic.
beast.
Yes.
Beasts of hype.
Yeah, beast of hype, super derivative, like New York art, picture of a skyscraper with somebody's face imposed. in the
Pretentious,
foreground.
bro.
Yeah, so
Pretentious and derivative. It's bad
Dude, it's
art.
so bad. And what's funny is the comments are full of people on FA just being like, "This shit is ridiculous."
Can you
dude."
go back and read
Yeah,
that
dude,
one?
Yeah, dude.
We're gonna do one. We're gonna do now.
Yes.
We're going into this because somehow the Polar shirt
Yes.
followed. And by the way, I love Polar as a brand. I think
Yes.
Polar is a pretty terrific brand.
Yes.
And I like the products that they put out too.
Yeah.
I do. I like their shirts.
Absolutely.
And I love the skateboarding that I see, and I love their. I just think that Pontus Alv is really cool. He's like on the level of 1990s Mark Gonzalez.
That is sick.
I do. I really like it. It would make me a better skateboarder to pay more attention to such things.
Yes.
But this leading
Yeah.
through this, hearing about this documentary, and then
Did you watch it?
no, I didn't
Okay.
watch it. I was involved in a discussion
Okay.
that was far peripheral to it. You'll never
Okay.
know which one it is because
Yes.
I don't imagine it's terribly interesting since it doesn't make sense.
Yes.
But so, and I'm having a flashback of you overhearing the two sponsored skateboarders from our town.
Oh yeah.
And one of them said, "What?"
They were leaving a bar, and somebody was expressing being bummed out about life, and he was, from my recollection and the way that they looked, they were both quite drunk, and one was saying something about being bummed out, and the other one said, "Well, let's go do some cocaine about it," and kind of put his arm around the other one.
And you
Type deal.
You got the feeling it was serious.
Yes, I got the feeling that they were moving in the direction of either procuring or going to somebody's place to do cocaine.
And in my the way that hit me
Yeah.
was in I ran afoul of the local magnates in my area because
Local magnate.
I did. What did we have? We had like a Meister, a Burgermeister, which is German for mayor.
Okay.
You know, we had a Burgermeister, and he was the kingmaker, and he was in charge of everything, much like Indianapolis.
Yes.
And these are the guys who would put out an ad of them stomping a skateboard and throwing it in the river.
Yes.
You know these were the don't get caught riding some bullshit people.
Yes.
And they came up in the late 90s consolidated vibe.
Yes.
And they thought they were kings of their town.
Yeah.
And honestly, they are the authors of ruin for so many people. And one of the sponsored skateboarders at the time, I'm always heckling and spoofing on people. And I pulled up to two of these boys one time. They had just finished a session of littering and being profane and being a boys club and it was quite public. And I pulled up, and the people who hosted that event were really ticked at them. And I was actually disinvited to the event on their behalf. Their sponsorship had said that if that they wouldn't participate if I was there. And I bowed out of the event at the request of the host. It was painful. It sucked. It still sticks in my craw. I'm not a very big man.
Yeah. Sure.
And I pulled up to pick up garbage and to help pack away the ramps. And I scooted to a stop, and I said, "Is this where I go for the Dylan Reader look-alike contest?" This is one of the best joke moments of my life, because these kids were like, they did Elijah Burrell to shame.
Yeah. Right.
Who, by the way, Elijah Burrell, I've been watching his skating this week. Like,
Yeah.
love it, right?
Yeah, of course.
I don't want to do any of those battles.
No.
And I don't think they're worth it.
No.
But when you get the compilation, it is pretty cool to see. But I have no interest in becoming an Elijah Burrell type skater. He is woofta. He's on some different levels of different things.
Yes.
But anyway, so
Yeah.
I said this joke, and they just looked so bummed.
Like you would
And they
maybe like
just-
really hurt their feelings.
They played it. They gaslit me. They played it like I had just completely popped their balloons, you know, and they just skated away.
The funniest part is that they definitely did look like Dylan
Oh my
Reader, dude.
goodness, it was so intense. But the
Yeah.
thing is, one of them, his Instagram handle, and he was I think he went on to do great things. His Instagram handle was so-and-so takes pills.
There you go.
And Dylan hadn't died yet.
Yeah.
Dylan died the next year.
Yes.
And the reason that cocaine situation
Mm-hmm.
combined with, why did Mark Hubbard die?
Yes.
Why did Jake Phelps die?
Yep.
What happened with Eric Swenson?
Yep.
You know, these are who ran over John Cardiel.
Yeah, it's a great question.
These
Right.
questions, they haunt me, because in the answers to these questions, these are the questions that actual journalists would ask.
Yeah.
And the answers to these questions would wind up informing the community and causing growth.
Yep.
Growth in the community's character, growth in the in the collective sensibilities of the community. But skateboarding has been actively deprived of that.
Yeah.
We have gone for 30 years with our what sort of should stand in the place of journalism. It was said by Tony Vitello in the San Francisco Chronicle that it's very difficult to even begin these conversations.
Yeah.
This is the editor of the magazine.
Yeah.
You can't even begin these conversations because they've been capitalizing on basically deaths of despair for so long.
Yeah.
They're counting on you to spend at least part of your life at least admiring addiction.
Yeah.
At least admiring insobriety.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's an athletic pursuit that demands a lot of your body and stuff. And so you have this juxtaposition. And I think it's marketed as some form of freedom, but it actually is chains around your ankles.
Yeah.
And now on to our, you know what, we might do an FA post every episode for a week.
Yeah, why not? Just because it's great, dude.
Go ahead. What's the post? Hold it up to the camera.
So here's the post that we were talking about with the ashtray.
For the audio, here's the ashtray in the hands, and the camera can see it's a dad figure who is snorting cocaine off of a table with a toddler behind him.
Yes.
It's not a mosaic. It's more of a black and white
montage of lines and colors.
So
somebody, the first comment on here
is beautiful.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Here we go. Ready?
It really, I know that what we're saying is not as controversial as it feels because of these comments.
Yeah, it's so good, dude. Somebody says, so edgy and cool. When I go out in my middle-class suburb, people will totally think I'm so edgy and cool. First, they may hear my skateboard and see my shitty rocketed ollie. But quickly, they will notice there is a grown man doing drugs next to a child. And they'll be like, whoa, this guy is so edgy and cool. When I go to pay for my Monster at CVS and interact with a girl my age, she may first notice my stutter and the strong scent of virginity I possess, but she'll notice the sick representation of drug use and child abuse on my shirt and move like, wow, this guy is so edgy and cool. Thank you, fucking awesome. You helped me not be a complete loser and instead be edgy and cool.
I mean, that's chef's chef's kiss.
It was so
sobriety.
good.
Sobriety is.
My gosh.
I have to say, sobriety is so important.
Oh man,
it's so much. There's. I mean, maybe there have been some articles that mention it. Maybe it's been lifted up as like an aspirational.
Yes.
You know, an aspirational concept by the likes of the boss.
Yeah.
It's been lifted up as like a personal. Sort of like a personal journey point, a waypoint on a personal journey that you don't push on other people.
Yeah.
And I get it. I get it. I like the degree of respect that gives to people's personal choices. Problem is, skateboarding, media, and branding doesn't hit people who are old enough to personally choose without being heavily influenced.
Yeah.
There has to be some respect given to the fact that influence means responsibility.
Yeah.
And this is so irresponsible. It's I'm not surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised that this is being offered to the culture as like some sort of standard. I'm extremely happy about that comment.
Yes, me too. And dude, the comment section is full. I mean, full of super negative.
The one that says so no more skateboarding.
Yeah,
then?
yeah. So no more skateboarding.
So no more
mark?
skateboarding?
Dude,
question mark.
Somebody puts it's microwave safe.
It's microwave safe.
Dude, somebody says this is corny as shit I've seen in a long time. We get it, Dill. You did coke in New York in your 20s. I mean, all of them. This is one of the first FA decks I had, and that shit broke like a week and a half off a 2-stair. It's like, dude.
Oh man, you just pulled the chainsaw.
I know,
You
dude.
just rigging, ding, 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 ding,
I
ding.
know, dude.
On top of it all,
I know.
they market this terrible garbage culture on terrible garbage wood,
Yes.
made by people who don't care about skateboarding.
Yeah.
For $14 more, you can get a board that's It's going to last you 3 months of daily skating. Going to razor tail.
Yeah.
Finally chip. You're going to hand it to someone else. It's going to last a full year of them puttering around on it. They're going to hand it over to someone else who's going to rip on it for another year. You're going to see that thing pop up at UDF or your local convenience store, and the person's going to go, dude, you made amazing boards. This thing is still going. And you're going to look at that thing and you remember the day. I'll remember the day I made it. I remember the boards I made. And I only made like 7,000 boards.
Only 7,000, dude.
That's not a lot.
That is a lot of boards.
That's
crazy. 7,000 boards is a lot
I used
of boards.
to order boards from a workshop, from a factory that was a small one.
Mm-hmm.
They made 40,000 boards a month.
That is actually a lot. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild.
They made 40,000 boards a month. They ran 24 hours a day. They had shifts coming in.
That's wild.
And that was the summer season, and the boards were really bad.
Yeah,
they were
sucks.
really bad. They
That
had a
sucks.
reputation for good boards, and it was just destroyed by those summer seasons. I think they were doing like 5 minutes in the press.
Dude.
They probably switched to a quick glue or something like that. Boy, it was bad. You could hear them cracking in the box. Yeah, it was bad.
I just went on FAA's website to see how much that ashtray cost.
It's not on the website, is it?
It is.
It is?
It is.
Holy moly, it's a product?
It's a product they're selling. That's all their posts
No,
are
no,
just
no, no, no.
drops.
No, I thought it was like fan art.
No. These are drops. Like every single one of their posts is just them dropping merch, and almost none of it is skateboarding.
Wait.
Like,
You're telling me
yes.
that image
Yes.
wasn't just an old board that they put out in
No.
a small run of
You can-
highly transgressive products to prove that they were FA?
No.
That's
You can get an ashtray with that picture on it, and it's only $60.
$60. I bet it's smaller than it looks. Is there a hand next to it?
Let me see.
How big is it? It's
Oh,
probably small.
the hand is holding it. It's like
Okay,
it's like this big.
It's like that big.
Yeah, it's like 4x6 or something, 4x5 or something.
Does Polar offer an ashtray?
We're gonna look at Polar in a minute. This is insane, $60, and it comes in a white box. Dude, I just feel like they went too far. They went heavy meta, dude, and everybody's like, "This is dumb." Golly, dude.
I think
handbags. What is this?
I think this is.
They sell tote bags.
It's fine.
Okay.
I don't hate a
fine.
tote bag. I'm you know what? Just in support
Yes.
of the creative end of the spectrum, we'll offer a tote bag too.
Yeah, we
CapmLew
should.
podcast tote,
Tote
bag
bag for all your
for
tote
what
bag
it's
needs.
worth. We're gonna offer it with your
Golly.
choice of crappy saying on the bottom. We're
$117
for the tote bag.
No, for the football jersey that they sell.
No, none of that is neither here nor there. I love Pontus Alvin. I don't begrudge Polar the right to charge
That's
$110. I know these guys can offer merch. If people like the merch, they can buy it. The thing is though, that here in our small realm,
Go ahead.
we are experts
At our own opinion.
at our own opinions.
We're on the cutting edge.
We are on the cutting edge of our own minds.
Yes.
And our minds are presently offended that anyone thinks they get to
Yes.
just run this garbage out
Yes.
and not be critical. Look, one of the things that really impacted me when I came to Ohio and was, romping around with my little skateboard and not being I never got on the track to become a pro skater. I became a pro dad.
Okay.
And decided to go pro at life. And so that took me out of the circles where I would skate with the big boys and do big boy things. And I was more than happy to give up aspirations of being a great skateboarder in order to live and learn how to tell the truth when I made a mistake.
Yeah.
That was really where I wanted to be, and still working on it. Still telling the truth when I make mistakes, right? Yeah. And it's a daily thing. But it disincluded me being able to party with the big boys and show up at the mani pad and learn to kickflip in and kickflip out of a mani and nollie flip in and nose manuals and things like that. It kept me going to the skate park 2-3 times a month.
Yeah.
And just doing ollies, just flying around, just doing frontside grinds.
Yes.
Year after year, just loving it. You know?
Yes.
I thought that was great.
Yes.
Turns out there are many who think that was a major life mistake, and I'm actually battling off that midlife crisis value system that says that I wasted my chances and things like that. It's a very ugly internal process of fighting off bad ideas every day.
Yeah.
And especially there's a discouragement that just isn't fit for someone whose hope is beyond this world. And it's not a good fit, and I'm not wearing it. But so
Fit is mid.
that fit is mid.
On God.
On God, bro.
No cap.
Bet.
Oh my God.
So all right.
Go ahead.
It was just sus.
The entire thing was just sus,
So
bro.
Sus. So FA exists, and they have a right to exist. And FA peddles merch, and it puts forward the thing about merch and branding is branding has a message. People relate to a message.
Yeah.
They identify with a message, and that strengthens their sense of personhood, who they are, who they want to be.
Sure.
Branding can strike aspirationally, like I want to be like Dwayne Peters, and I'm going to ride his boards, and I'm going to do the things Dwayne Peters did.
Sure.
Or it can be it can be a little more less influential, but usually branding has to do with a person's proclamation of where they want to steer themselves to be.
Yeah.
What you're looking at is usually where you arrive.
Yes.
And so in this world of skateboarding and pro skateboarders and all of this hype, these people are offering for you to look at them. I say leave them. They are blind guides.
Yeah.
If a blind man leads a blind man, they both wind up in a hole. Then you say, well, you're being a hater. Yeah, sure.
It's my podcast, bro.
First of all, my podcast.
Yeah.
Second of all, hating such things is actually well earned.
Yeah.
I hate the idea of drug use in front of what looks like an infant.
Literally. Like
a toddler.
5. Yeah.
I'm thinking 2, 3.
Even
I'm thinking 2 or 3.
perhaps. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I hate the corruption of innocence. I hate the abuse of children.
Yeah.
I hate deaths of despair. I hate them enough that I wish that investigative journalism existed in skateboarding.
Yeah.
I wish that we had learned back when John Cardiel got run over, the role that partying and drug use and over drinking had in that accident.
Yeah.
The silence, the deafening silence of skate media on topics like these basically tells you that, that's what it was. Yep.
Yeah.
Basically 100%, yep, that's what it was. That's what it was. Drunk and stoned and driving and goofing around and being foolish are very costly. And there's a certain, you will definitely, if you're with me long enough, you will see me do things that are silly and even foolish.
Sure.
On my skateboard, when I'm horsing around, I remember I had a situation, I'm not proud of it. It just is what it is. I've had situations where, like a guy, I broke like 3 of his ribs.
On a skateboard?
We were horsing around.
Oh.
Oh
yeah.
And you'll have that.
Yeah.
These things happen.
And there is a level of that I think is totally fine. Like
he wanted to do moves, and so we did moves, and he was coming in at me. We were doing some moves. It was a sparring situation, and I broke like 3 of his ribs.
Yeah, sure.
And it was like, oh, that sucked.
Yeah, dude, my bad. You're right.
You're gonna have that.
Yeah.
You're gonna have situations where things happen. One time I was involved in a smash up at a skate park, and someone's elbow got broken.
Yeah.
And it sucked.
Yeah.
You're
this
gonna have
completely
have these things.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you're gonna
it's
have
a skate
it.
Park, right.
And one time I peed on the car of a tire of a car, right? I was just peeing. It wasn't on it. It was terribly near it.
Dude, you probably sprinkled their fender, dog.
Listen, things happen. I had to pee really bad.
Yeah.
And
in my defense, I have no defense.
And they were in the front seat of their car, just kind of being there.
Yeah.
And my back was turned,
it's fine.
ish.
Yeah.
And if they weren't doing something illegal in their car,
Right.
I'm sure I would have been busted. These
Yes.
are ill-advised things.
Yes, right.
I let a guy drive my van one time who I should never have had drive my van. We lived. It was okay.
That's fine.
All these things happen.
Yeah.
Things are going to happen. Nobody is like pretending to be Socrates here.
Yeah.
You know.
And there's an essence of skateboarding where
It's
taking risks.
tomfoolery.
Yeah, you're tomfooling around. That's the entire point. And taking risks and overcoming risks, unscathed or slightly scathed or really scathed, is kind of part of the deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not against the
No,
fountain of
me
youth.
neither. Me
I'm not
neither.
against the fountain of youth
No.
and the endorphins and the
Yeah,
battle and
absolutely.
like that.
Yeah.
But there's a
line.
well, at what cost
Yeah.
is a constant
Yes.
process that flows
Yes.
through my mind.
Yes.
And it changes, it changes both with age and experience, but it also changes with realizing that I'm getting older and I'm realizing, well, risks have to be taken.
Yes.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yeah, and if you don't have a guiding principle to help you in whatever you're doing, whether it's skateboarding or lacrosse or whatever, you're going to be completely consumed.
If you don't have guiding principles, now there are high principles and there are low principles.
Yes.
One of the lower ends of guiding principles are social pressure.
Yes.
Congratulations, you're a punk rocker. You do what you want when you want. All right, great. Oh, now you're making a fashion brand on
Yes,
it, and
right.
your headlong dive into depravity has become a very, very high market to 14-year-old kids.
Yeah, there it is.
What do you want, a medal?
Right.
Social pressure should come to bear on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is, we made a podcast. That's
Right.
pretty much the extent of it. I mean, I don't know, because
Right.
I've had brand owners and shop owners and industry people square up with me and be like, I don't like the things you said on your blah blah. I didn't like your Facebook Live. And I'm like, well, is there something about it specifically you'd like to discuss?
Yeah, can we have a
And
discourse?
then they pull back their fist and hit me.
Yeah, because that was a bridge too
I
far.
was like, we should have a discourse. And if you can convince me that I was wrong, I'll apologize. I will.
Yeah.
But I don't foresee that being the case in regard to these positions.
Right.
Like this seems like a kind of a no-brainer.
And I think largely throughout the entire life of the podcast and all the discourse that you've had online and with people, I think a guiding principle in all of this has been we're just advocating for the free flow of ideas. You know what I mean? Like, we're saying, hey, everybody should be able to have their opinion. Everybody should be able to say the things that they think, and that should be allowed. Because honestly, even a guy coming up to you at a coffee shop and saying, I don't really like what you said about me on Facebook Live, could have been the beginning of a really
great friendship.
A great friendship and a great conversation.
Really could have been.
Even
Still can be.
Yes, even
Still
through
can
the narrows of interpersonal conflict and business conflict, it could have really been the start of something really big and cool.
Yeah, what you wrote about sexual harassment really reflected badly on my business practices.
Yes.
That would be a good conversation.
Yes.
And the other thing is that, hey man, this is still extremely meta.
It really is,
All right?
dude.
We've got a serious historical problem, us human beings.
Yeah.
The Son of Man came and died on a cross in
Yeah.
history, split it AD and BC and AD.
Yeah.
This stuff happened. There's no person so spoken against as that guy, and yet it grows.
Yeah.
The first witnesses to those events all died painful, terrible deaths.
Yeah.
The evidences for the historicity and the textual authority, unbroken chain of authority of the book are compelling.
Yes.
This is something I look at it and I'm like, but you've got to be able to think clearly in order to use critical thinking.
Yeah.
To come to a real conclusion for yourself. That's not some passively inherited, that's not my thing.
Right.
And the level of independent philosophical and spiritual inquiry that's necessary to navigate a cosmos in which God has revealed himself in so many ways and yet has been so humble, scandalously humble in giving us so much choice in how we respond. Somebody has to contend for the degree of reason necessary to reach a personal conclusion about such things. I get to flex on that in my Friday night Bible studies and call it Sinners Only, and I love those times when we really listen into those vibes.
Yeah.
Here on the podcast, we're contending for, like, wow.
I don't know, just think about it, bro. Yeah. Like, have you considered just slowing down and maybe taking a minute to think about it?
Yeah. I mean, wow.
Come on.
Because what I'm seeing is a culture peopled with individuals who will passively subscribe.
Yes.
Just passively subscribe to actually really impactful conclusions.
Yeah.
That they haven't processed, and the implications, the consequences of these conclusions are extremely far-reaching. Yes. And some of them reach right here in the scene realm. You can see that if I use an Instagram name, my name takes pills with a number after it, I'm lifting up what killed Dylan.
Yeah.
Right. And I hope that dear one, I hope that he woke up when he saw that this person who he rightly idolized, I mean, there wasn't a cooler style.
Yeah, come on, Dylan was sick.
Yes. Yeah. There wasn't a cooler style physically in skateboarding than Dylan.
Yeah.
You know, but I hope he got the message, and I hope he didn't take pills, although I kind of reckon he did, because he was sponsored by the same shop that didn't consider it a problem for its sponsored riders and sponsored rider gear to go out publicly and behave in those ways and be well known for those behaviors. Yeah. You know, skateboard industry, you are on the hook for guiding and shepherding children toward deaths of despair.
Yes. And
you can't take credit for people who escape that just because you had some oblique reference. Some misty-eyed oblique reference when they don't even change the name of the company from Baker.
I know.
They won't even change the name of the company. They won't even say, you know what, we're going to crumple this up, we're going to throw it in the bin. They're just going to make oblique references to the health benefits of being sober.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think medals should be hanging from anyone's chest. We recommend that you dig in on the Son of Man, the end of days. Yeah. We recommend that you dig in on the word of the Scripture, that you get wise before you run around and be running your mouth about politics and tribal this and that and hating one another for this and that. Yeah. Why don't you go back and stand at the crossroads and seek the ancient ways and look for the wisdom that comes from the guy who made you.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we'll leave it today.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I will say one more thing. I think this is the result of the total abdication of personal responsibility for a person's life. And again, this is nice. It's larger than skateboarding. This is everybody is tasked with that, and we all have a decision to make every day about whether or not we're going to take responsibility for being alive, as unfair as that may be.
Nobody has to get born. Yeah. This was put upon you.
Right. But here you are, man.
This was put upon you, and you can be mad at the Creator for making you.
Right.
Some people never get past that point, and if that's where you're at, go ahead, be mad at the Creator. Right. Complain to Him.
Yeah.
It's called praying.
Yeah. See what happens.
That is. Some people call that prayer.
Yes.
Some of the things that you wouldn't think are prayers, and He hears you.
Yes.
And
some of them are in the Bible written down.
Yeah, man. In the book of Psalms, there's a lot of what would be called bad theology today. A lot. There are prayers in the Psalms of the Bible that they'll blow your hair back.
Yeah.
I like what you said, Luke.
Absolutely.
I really do. And
me too. I'm on the cutting edge of my own opinion.
Yes. Well, listen, before we leave today, we want to thank those of you who listen to us. We want to especially thank those of you who have sent us support. We are humbled. It looks like we're going to be able to make a few moves toward the studio being a little bit better.
Yeah.
And we're going to be able to make a few moves toward offering you guys some sort of a rubric wherein we will offer you some of our wares for your support.
Yes.
Some tokens of our appreciation that you listen. We do appreciate when people listen. We think it's kind of a big deal to a podcast.
Yeah.
And then also, I want to thank Bud Stratford over at Zeppelin Aero Works for including me in his group.
Yeah.
He's put me up there with Billy Ruff and a whole bunch of other people on his honorary team roster, and you can see one of the Zeppelin boards up above me there. That is, he pronounces it the Deutschland.
Deutschland.
Yeah, it's actually
Beautiful.
Spelled Deutschland. Yeah, Deutschland. Right?
Beautiful.
It's up there,
Kind of one word, yeah.
and then a big thank you to the support of Life Skateboards. They're the boards that we ride. They're the boards that make our skateboarding day what it is. www.lifeskateboard.com.
Yeah.
Go on there and look at what is being offered. Amazing. He sent me today, Sam at Life. Sam and Casper run it. They make your board. They care about you. And Sam sent me an order, a screen grab of an order, and the order was so touching.
That's awesome.
The guy was saying, I'm a over this age skateboarder, and these really look like the kind of thing I want to be involved with. Thank you so much. He was from Georgia, a place where I'd skated near there, and
Very
I thought,
cool,
well,
man.
maybe I know this guy's name.
That's awesome.
And I might know this guy, and I thought, wow, what a lovely thing for people to discover Life Skateboards.
Yes.
And you can order custom stuff. Talk to Life Skateboards. They are just a skosh more expensive than the pre-chewed food,
Yes.
far-flung factory garbage that you have thought was good enough for far too long.
Yeah.
Life Skateboards. And I feel like I should be thanking some beard product company, but I think I scared them all off by mispronouncing the first
Huxtable.
one, Huxtable.
We call it Huxtable for so long.
Coffee and oak. You know what? It actually soured on me.
Did it really?
It just smells too sweet and sickly sweet now. I just can't do it. I don't know. And who wants to sponsor a guy who talks like that about the product? Here, just rub it on my head.
Just get it on my head, bro.
There we are. But I do like the fact that stuff goes on my arms and my head after I'm done putting it on my beard. But then when the wind blows and it gets on yeah, we got to go. It's dinner time. We'll catch you on the flip side for what it's worth.
Laters.
All right, there we are.
There's the Facebook.
Oh, we're still on Facebook.
We gotta go.
Yeah, we gotta go. It's
Catch
dinner
you
time.
later. Later.